Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, a motion on the April 6th work session minutes.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
I need a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the 6th of April.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Mr. Mayor, you're up. We'll get moving quick here. We got lots on the agenda this afternoon. That's a special guest in the house.
Absolutely, and I'm going to keep this short. I know we've got a long agenda. A couple of things we want to try to keep in mind. We're at the halfway point, essentially, of what we have introduced regarding a 30-day extension to the mask mandate, and we want to make sure that everyone in the community understands that we're all trying to get to the finish line of this pandemic. Unfortunately, it's not up to us to decide that. The only thing that we can decide is to try to make sure that we're protecting the lives and livelihoods of those in the community. And I won't go through all the numbers, but I would just say that right now Montgomery is still in a high-risk category. We still have not broached the threshold that I would like for us to be at when it comes to getting adults vaccinated in this community. And right now, as of yesterday, I think per the Biden administration, we have anyone from 16 or above can be vaccinated. So we've been working again with our private partners as well as the Alabama Department of Public Health to try to make these vaccinations as accessible as we can. And I can't stress enough to those that want to see us get to a point where we aren't so concerned about COVID-19 that the best way for us to try to do that is to make sure we're sharing why it's so important to get vaccinated in the first place. And I know that there are many things that have come up that are keeping people from getting those vaccinations, but we're trying to do everything we can as a city to make that easier. We have reached out to companies like Uber to provide $1,500 in transportation credits to vaccination appointments. We're working with other nonprofits to try to get the word out to churches and communities to those that want to be vaccinated. We understand there's still concerns, there are questions around that, but as we get to this halfway point, for Montgomery to be still in the high risk category is problematic. And so we've got to really think about that over these next 2 weeks so that when we come back before this body, we will have not only better stats and information, but hopefully better outcomes as it relates to getting this community the vaccines that it needs. So I just want to stress that, and I won't beat on the podium, but it's just important for us to try to make sure that we're doing everything we can to share the word and let our residents know that we are not out of this just yet, and we certainly want to be in a better place in a couple of weeks at the next council meeting when we'll have to discuss again that vaccination. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I didn't want to interrupt you, but we got our second shot yesterday, and I wanted to commend Ms. Thornton, Chief Jordan in the fire department, Chief Finley in the police department, how smooth it was, so easy to do, in and out, and numerous firemen, policemen out there. Ms. Thornton had a bunch of people, and I don't know who the other people were. I only cried for about 15 seconds until they pulled it out. 15, it wasn't bad. But how smooth it was, and
it doesn't hurt.
She needs to be commended because that's a big deal, and everybody that helped her put it together should have a thank you as well.
While we got the news media here, very good. I agree with that. But while we got the news media here, you can get a shot in this town almost anywhere you go. And I wish the news media would take a time in your publication or your news that you publicize how many places you can get a shot if you want to get a shot. I mean, I don't know of all of them, but I know our fire department's got them. I know that a lot of the drugstores have got them. Most all drugstores have got them. Sam's has got it. I think Walmart's got it. I mean, they're everywhere. So if you want a shot, you don't have to wait in line very long to get it, and all you got to do is make that. But I would appreciate the news media giving us a little push on this, because that's something that would help. I know they'll be looking at you for the information on this tonight, but so publicize where all they can get them, you know, because we need these people to have the shots and get this thing over and get it behind us. I'm with you, Mayor. We're doing better, but we got to get these folks with shots in their arms. And don't let anybody fool you. It don't hurt. Pruitt's joking. I never knew I had it. I was over and done before the guy said, "You're done." I said, "I am. I thought you were fixing to start." Anyway, it don't hurt at all. So people need to realize there's not anything to fear, but they need to go ahead and get them.
I agree. And we want to continue to encourage all of you. Everyone has a sphere of influence. Everyone has others that they can help try to understand why it's important. But for us to be able to move forward as a community and get back to doing more things in person, whether it's worshiping in person, whether it's socializing in person and things along those lines, it's going to be important for us to see an increase. And I'll be honest with you, we've got to see an increase over the next 2 weeks, so we're going to be having a different type of discussion, I think, when we come back. So we want to do everything that we can from the city side. We're working to, again, partner with anyone and everyone to remove all the obstacles, all the barriers for those that have transportation issues or health concerns or questions or even any financial concerns around insurance and things along those lines. We want to make sure that we get that information out there, and we'll continue to try to do that. And for anyone that may be listening or watching the council meeting, if you have any questions, just dial 311 and we'll make sure we get you connected as well. But as the president said, we are seeing a lot of participation from drugstores and other retailers as well to go along with our government outlets. So I hope we can improve over these next couple of weeks, and when I do show those numbers, we'll be in a much better place. Moving on to something that's also important, I just wanted to bring up a resolution that I know the council will address here in just a few minutes, and that is a minority participation resolution that we're asking for support on. We're doing this because although it has been taken up by a previous council, under this administration, we have not brought this back to the forefront. But along with what we're seeing in other entities, we want to make sure that we're doing these things to bring everyone into the fold of the city and to bring everyone these same economic opportunities that many others have had. What we see in this community is an equity gap among black businesses, in particular and among businesses of color. They have not gotten the opportunity to get the support from financial institutions. They've not gotten the opportunity, therefore, to grow and scale their business in a way that we would like to see it as a community. And when you look at healthy communities and those communities that are growing, they not only have a diverse way of doing things socially and politically, but also economically. And we need to be one of those communities. And while we've made some progress in the political sense, unfortunately, there's been a lot of stagnation in the business sense. And we have not seen our rate of businesses grow, whether it be women-owned businesses or, again, whether it be businesses that are owned by people of color. And so we want to make sure that we're doing the things we can from the city side to help spur that growth and to help spur some of the information that is needed in order to get these businesses to be able to get on their feet and to participate fully in the progress of the economy of Montgomery, Central Alabama, and this entire state. And so one of the things that we've done is to try to centralize our procurement process. That's something that's been very unique for Montgomery, but not unique to other communities. It's something that we know is very important for us to be able to track the information that is needed to make sure that those businesses that may be deemed at a federal level as a minority business enterprise, MBE, or disadvantaged business enterprise, DBE, do have the opportunity to bid on contracts with the city, to fully participate as any other resident, small business owner, mid-sized business, or large business owner can do. And we hope that by doing this, that we not only educate many of our business owners, but we give them hope and opportunity to participate in what they're seeing happening around them in this city. And for us, it makes not only business sense to do this, it makes common sense to do this. It's very, very important that we have a strong business network that is representative of the population of this city. And right now, we just simply don't. Now, one program will not change it, but one program with intentionality and deliberation on how we can improve will help that. And that's what we are attempting to do here. And so we've signed on with a consultant, the Ziegler Moore Group, to help us along with the county to push this forward. And so we'll be pushing out some ideas, and we'll be initiating some contact with those business owners that have done state business, that have done local business, that have done national business, to maybe be an example, to be a mentor, to be a partner with other businesses here, and to show all of the businesses and those businessmen and women who want to participate how they can do that. And if we do that, then we strengthen our economy, we strengthen our opportunities here to grow as a community, we strengthen our tax base, and we allow more people to have access to jobs locally here than we currently have right now. So I look forward to council taking up this resolution, and I certainly look forward to, more importantly, playing an active role in helping this initiative not just be one that we talk about today and we don't hear about until sometime next year, but we even one that is a really living, breathing example of ways government can help spur economic development, can help provide equity to those that have been left out and left behind in the business sense, and can be an example and can be, if you will, a spur for those businesses that are looking for their first opportunity to get that contract, to get that big client, whether it is cutting grass, whether it is doing software development, whether it is as an accounting firm, regardless of what it may be. We want to make sure that we are being fair and we're being intentional about this community in ways that are just not political, but those ways that are economic as well as impact our financial progress as well. So I look forward to the council taking that resolution up under this administration, and I look forward to supporting it with the fullness that we have. Finally, I want to address one last resolution that is on this particular agenda, and that is the resolution expressing support for renaming Jefferson Davis Avenue to Attorney Fred Gray Avenue. I think it's important that this body understand truly where we are in this moment. And we're sitting here on a day that was somewhat tense for many of us as we awaited the verdict of a trial that involved the killing of an unarmed black man in another city in another state. Harkens back, many have said over these last few months, to a time when one did not have those rights. And so when we think about how we got to where we are, we have to think about those who helped pave the way. And we are very, very proud that we have a native son, one was born and raised in Montgomery, who led that fight from a very young age, and that is Attorney Fred D. Gray. I'm glad that two of his children are here to join us, Attorney Fred Gray Jr. and Attorney Stanley Gray. If you will, please stand. Thank you very much. I want to thank them as they are here to represent the family in this endeavor, because what we're seeking to do here really is to bring light and bring honor to someone who doesn't need anything symbolically done, who didn't ask for any of this to be done, but is one who deserves it anyway. And when I think about Attorney Gray, and I think about the intersection of Rosa Parks Avenue and Jeff Davis Avenue, it seems to me that they stand in stark contrast to who we say we are as a city and who we say we are as a state and who we say we are as a nation. And although symbols are not everything, symbols do tell stories. And symbols tell stories about who we uplift and who we honor and who we believe to be representative of where one stands at a certain point in time. And so when we think about this, I want us to think about it a little bit beyond just a name change or even just beyond a procedural act that we're taking here. It really goes to what this nation has sought to become and what this city has sought to become as well. And so when I think about renaming, I first proposed this some months ago, I think that this fits with where we want to go as a community, with where we want to go as a city, into a new Montgomery, into a new 200 years of existence. And what will be said and who will those that come after us look to us as those that we saw to be honorable. And you'll have to forgive me if I don't believe that one who graces the name of the high school that I graduated from is honorable. Just don't believe that. I think that the man that we have on this picture and the man that still practices law, as he reminded me when we spoke to this day, is someone that we ought to honor. So when I went to talk to him about how the city could honor him, I didn't know what he would say, and I really didn't have a built-in answer. His response was to rename the street that he grew up on, and to rename the street after him, because that was something that, regardless of what was taking place as he was growing up on that street, and I have to remind myself of maybe how I would feel this day if I had grown up in Montgomery at that time, much less if I had come back to Montgomery at a time as hostile as he did to do what he did, and that was to destroy everything segregated that he could find. I don't know that I would have said that to a mayor if he were to ask me that. I don't know if I would have wanted anything, given what he faced and given what he had to deal with, both he and his family and so many others. And so when we think about this, this is about really those like Attorney Gray, who I don't think has ever, I've never heard him refer to himself as a civil rights hero, but who has just referred to himself as really someone who was doing what he believed in, someone who had a purpose. And this is about making sure that those who fought to make Montgomery, Alabama, and the state as inclusive and a full society, that we recognize them and that we honor them. And very often, we don't give people roses while they're here. We wait until they pass on. I've never believed in that. I have always believed in saying thank you, and I love you, and I appreciate you, long before I ever thought about anything political. And so for me, this is about being able to share and show with Attorney Gray what this body believes, not just, again, through symbols, but through substance. And this is about honoring a man who grew up during the toughest of times in this city and still has very fond memories of those times, still has very fond memories of the work that he and many others dealt with. And so this isn't, for me, necessarily just about culture or heritage. It's about what makes our city unique in itself, and what makes it something that we can unify behind. And you know, we can't fight a lot about the past, and we can't fight a lot about what happened before our time, but what we can do is impact those things that are before us right now. And what I just want us to consider here is that there's a lot more that holds us together that I think is embodied in the life and the words and the work of Attorney Gray than I think ever was in a President Jefferson Davis. And I think it's appropriate for us to acknowledge that, not only because I asked him what he might think about, that's really secondary, but really because it's the right thing to do. Really because that's where we are, I believe, as a community. And so the street itself is symbolic because when we think about that street and we think about those intersections that it crosses over, and we think about Rosa Parks Avenue, we think about E.D. Nixon, we think about all of those streets to me, it just seems more fitting that there would be an intersection of Rosa Parks and Fred Gray Avenue. It seems fitting that there would be an intersection of Rosa Parks and E.D. Nixon Avenue. So when I think about those people and many others, they serve as reminders of those that were the best in this city, even at some of the worst times in this city's history. They brought out the best in many, even as they faced the worst. And Attorney Gray was right there to do that. And so I don't want anyone to think that this resolution is just about a name. It's about a message. It's about a message that we want to send, not only to one of our most treasured native sons who we're blessed to still have with us to tell us firsthand some of those challenges, but what we want to send to other members of this community, what we want to send to future generations, what we want to send to those that live throughout Alabama and throughout this country about where Montgomery is now and where Montgomery chooses to go. And so if we could think about it from that standpoint, and with this resolution, I know there's still many more steps procedurally that we have to do to formalize this. But if we could think about this from the standpoint of the signal, we talked about symbols, but the signal that we seek to send and that we want to send not just to this community, but to those that visit here, to those who read about Montgomery, to those who want to learn more about Montgomery, about why this attorney should be just as well known as any of the other attorneys that people have learned about in their history. The court cases, whether it was Browder v. Gale and many others that have been impactful far beyond this city hall and these state lines. I hope that we would think about it from that perspective, because I certainly understand the procedural steps that have to be taken. That's why we haven't been able to formalize it now. But sometimes government can get in the way of itself. Sometimes government can get in the way of doing what's good and what's right. And it's very interesting that we're here discussing that, because that's exactly what government did that brought Attorney Gray onto the scene in the first place. Government and people who use laws and ordinances in this city to keep others in a certain place. Government can get in the way. And we have to be able to think through these things as rational, even-keeled individuals about what we want this government to say and what we want this government to support. And I will only say, if we could all be as courageous as he, just think about where we would all be. Thank you, Mr. President. And that concludes my message for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Tim Anderson. You here, Tim? And I don't see the district attorney, but y'all are going to make a presentation to the council. This is Helping Families Initiative, and they asked to tell us what they're doing.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
can you come right here for us?
Why don't you go over in the middle? Would be better than that. Yeah.
No, sir.
Thank you. Closer to us with your feet.
Yes. I'm going to, if you don't mind.
I mean, hand them out. Okay.
It's at the conclusion, or you could do it now, but, okay, I'll leave it.
Good evening to Mayor Reed and President Jenwright, and to the rest of the council. Thank you so much for allowing me to be able to speak on behalf of Mr. Darrell Bailey, our district attorney, about this wonderful program that continues to make an impact in our city. You all were so gracious to continue to contribute toward our program, and one of our responsibilities is to continue to keep you abreast of our progress And I think that's probably more important now than ever in light of the pandemic that we've experienced and a number of challenges that families are facing. Because my time obviously is limited, I do have a report for each of you to ponder at your own convenience, containing data and information in regards to the specifics about our program. But I just wanted to briefly talk about a couple of things that I think are important for all of us to be aware of as we move forward, making an impact in our city. I think it's important for all of you to know the fine folks that I work with who do a great job fighting for families in this city every single day. And I just want them to stand or raise their hand. We have Ms. Takia Young, who is the program supervisor. We have Ms. Barbara Bruce, who is our administrator. We have Ms. Brenda Owens Brown, who is one of our case officers. And we have Mr. Joe Cameron, who also serves as one of our case officers. Our staff is very small, but it is not parallel with the work that we actually do. We do a massive amount of work every single day fighting for our families. Helping Montgomery Families Initiative is the only comprehensive intervening program in our city. What I mean by that is we serve every neighborhood in this city. We serve all family types, whether it be traditional or non-traditional families. We intervene in any type of parental relationship, those that are hostile, those that are on the brink of disaster, and in between that. We intervene in any type of family crises. There is no type of crises that a family can experience in our city that we can't get in the middle of and offer some assistance in. But right now, a number of our families in our city are in a crisis. Virtual learning is beneficial in the sense that children have some continuity. We want our children to be educated. We want them to have the opportunity to learn. But it has also, as many of us have read in even national news, that it has created a number of challenges for our young people and for our families. There is a significant loss of learning that the school district is trying to address, and some wonderful summer programs that are coming up. But we recognize there's been a significant loss of learning throughout the school year. There has been an increase in youth criminal behavior because a number of our children are not being parented correctly, because a number of our children have more access than they normally have had. A lot of our children are making decisions that are not positive in our community. There is, unfortunately, an uptick of abuse. And unfortunately, we won't really know the full extent of abuse that's taking place in our community until after the pandemic is over. So there are a number of challenges. And even our department in the DA's office has had significant challenges because of the limitations of the scope of our work, because of the issue of what truancy is. The laws historically about truancy don't always apply to virtual learning, and there's been much debate in our community and over the entire nation about what we do about truancy during this particular time. And so there are some things that we project coming up in the next school year. Face-to-face learning at some point will inevitably reconvene, and we are glad about that, and we should hope that for all of our children. But the manifestations of the challenges that the students faced during the pandemic will most certainly be demonstrated and manifested in the schoolhouse and in our community. All of the things that are happening behind the scenes in each of these homes, they'll bring those things back into school. And that's going to create significant challenges for the school system and for our community. Truancy will be inevitable, and Helping Montgomery Families Initiative will be the first logical tools for families that are facing a crisis. So HMFI exists to reduce the manifestations of the community-wide trauma that we know that these families are dealing with, not just from statistical data, but from our dialogue and interaction with families every single day. The Open Doors program that we unveiled in December in the District Attorney's Office has been a wonderful and very efficient program. And I have information for you to read in regards to all the things that this program does. But when children are exposed to violence, homicides, we have not had programs in the city that would immediately address those issues. Trauma is like when oxygen is limited to the brain, and you recognize that you need to intervene immediately if the brain will have a chance to operate without damage. And trauma is the same way. if you don't get to it quickly, then it will manifest in many forms that we see that's happening right now in a number of our adolescents and young adults in our city. And so we've been committed as a department to this city throughout the entirety of this pandemic. And I want to just really close this out with talking about just a brief story of a 17-year-old young lady who we had in our program years ago, not because she was the target child, but there was an issue in her home. And since Helping Montgomery Families Initiative addresses everybody in the household, we discovered that she was having some issues too. Fast forward a few years later, we get a call from one of the school counselors saying this young lady has run away from home. At the age of 17, she was pregnant. She was living with the gentleman, and she was no longer living at home. She had a volatile relationship with her parents. We know how these stories end, and they don't end in positive ways. So after we got the call, our case officer, Brenda Owens-Brown, reached out to this young lady. They were able to figure out what was wrong. They intervened in that situation. That young lady had no prenatal care before this point. Now she's getting that care. That young lady had no relationship with her parents. Now she's back home where she needs to be. That young lady had dropped out of school. Now she's back in school. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of stories like this that we experience every single day. And I don't have the time to share all that with you, but that just really speaks to the effectiveness of our program. And again, we are the only comprehensive intervening program in our city. We're the only program that can offer any possible way for children and families to be helped. So where do we go from here? It was Frederick Douglass, former slave and future scholar, who once said it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And so what we want to do is continue to ask for your support. Again, the information is detailed in our report that you can read for yourself. But if you are praying, folks, and I believe that you are, we want you to pray our strength, because the issues that we are facing now are larger than they've ever been before. And we want to continue to serve these families. Even you, as well as you know your districts, if you know of families that need our services, we can help, and we can help immediately. And we're very proud to be able to say that. So thank you again for the time that you've suggested.
Mr.
Any
Anderson,
questions that you have, we'll entertain.
Let me ask you a question on that. Where do you get your referrals now? The school's being closed like this, you don't get your referrals there. You get your referrals from the DA's office? Or?
Right. So we have been limited because of that. But because we have developed more programming, families can reach us on their own, and they've been doing that. And of course, our Open Door program responds to all of the crises regarding violence in our city. So we are more busy, actually, than we have been before. Perhaps not in the traditional HMFI program, but our new programs have really compensated for that.
Thank you so much. We got a copy of that. We'll all read that. We're running late on time, so appreciate your information. Yeah, we don't have many.
I get you.
Only 6 hours here. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, first item.
Mr. President, item 1, resolution revoking the business license of Mildred Shuford and Ron Stokes doing business as American Pallet, 1545 Furnace Street.
Ms. Shuford. Fire Department, give us an update on what's happening over there.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I got a PowerPoint to show. It's got 2 one-minute videos in it. Before I get to that, I'd like to brief the council on what has inspired the last 50 days. On March 1st, 2021, Montgomery Fire Rescue received a complaint about American Pallet obstructing the roadway with pallets. We also conducted an inspection on that day, found that Mr. Stokes obstructed the fire apparatus access road along with additional fire code violations. Mr. Stokes was given 7 days to clear the obstructed fire apparatus access road. On March 15th, Mr. Stokes had made no attempt to clear the obstructed apparatus access road or correct any fire code violations. March 16th, Mr. Stokes was brought before the City Council and was given to the next City Council meeting, April 6, 2021, to clear the obstructed fire apparatus access road and meet other fire code requirements. On April 6th, Mr. Stokes appeared before the city council. He did clear the fire access road, but did not clear any other fire code violations that were corrected, that were supposed to be corrected. The city council granted Mr. Stokes 2 additional weeks to April 20th, 2021, which is today, to comply with all fire code requirements. Mr. Stokes was made aware of the violations that remain and allowed the 2 weeks to correct these violations. However, during these 2 weeks, he is not able to do so. On April 15th, we performed a drone flyover to visual Mr. Stokes' progress in complying with the pallet storage fire code requirements. It is apparent that the drone footage that Mr. Stokes had made no progress whatsoever in correcting any of the fire code violations. I let Mike actually put the PowerPoint up there. These are the following remaining fire code violations, the International Fire Code that was adopted among the city ordinance. And as you can see, there's 11 violations. Pallet stacks exceed the allowable height of 20 feet in height. Pallet stacks are stored in stacks greater than allowed space of 400 square feet per stack. The storage piles of wood chips exceed 25 feet in height, 150 feet in width, and 250 feet in length. Wood chip piles are not separated by the approved apparatus access road. It has no portable fire extinguishers provided within 75 feet of each pallet stack. Portable fire extinguishers minimum of 4A 60 BC are not provided on all vehicles and equipment operating on wood chip piles and processing equipment. Fire extinguishers are not provided, tagged, inspected annually by a certified suppression contractor. He has no site plan available with a description of the property. He has not prepared or put in place the required fire prevention plan. He has no street address identification numbers that are not posted at all. And also, American Pallet does not possess a City of Montgomery certificate of occupancy or business license for the buildings located on the 1605 Furnace Street property, which is a property he has adjacent to that he is actually moving pallets on that property as well. Over this slide, you see on March 15th, you see to the left, this is actually his 1545 Furnace Street property. You see what the result is of April 19, 2021. The only thing you see is to the right of it, along that fence, he has moved pallets somewhat off that property line and made that access road. This is 1605 Furnace Street. This is a secondary property that he has. This is the property that he has that he does not hold a certificate of occupancy on or business license to operate on. And there's actually another picture of today's picture of the April 19th picture, which is yesterday. Go to the next slide.
So he got it away, he got the pallets away from the fence. That's the only thing he did during this time?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stokes, how old are these pallets?
These pallets not old. What it is, I don't know how to talk to him. This is turning into a personal problem to him. I'm gonna let her talk, because what he's saying.
Well, we look at the picture. We can see the picture now.
Okay, yes, on the picture. Okay, keep in mind.
Got a picture yesterday.
There's been the picture. Well, should have had one today too. You see what I'm saying? Since we just left out of it.
Get up to.
He been there twice this morning. He rode through that twice. Before then, before he even searched this, he go around to his buddy house and he ride until the palace got out of hand. I got a sick did got out of hand because we was trying to get this other property so I can move. I got equipment to do everything. I'm not crying about nothing. But you can't get nobody help. But we've been working diligently every day, except on Sunday, to get that place clean, get the place straight now. Keep in mind, it's been 2 years and change since the fire call. Like
right.
I think last time y'all asked the question, tell me how the fire started. He told me, and I still don't know. And then when the man walked, y'all asked him, then I bet you neither one of y'all could tell me. You know, he just left it, and now he's so concerned. But I say it's personal, although I ain't gonna get into all that. He went personal, and I made complaints. The last time he was down here, he told me he walked through the place. He ain't been back since then now. He walked through the place, and he told me a month. He probably gives a month to work on it. I would keep on crying for time. Cause can't get no help. I ain't crying, can't get no help. I got all the equipment, got everything to do everything with. Even check with the insurance company.
But back up, Mr. Stokes. You're
Huh?
saying you can't get any help to help you?
Yeah, you can't get nothing. Yeah, you can't get no help. I had up until July. That's when it got I had up to 25 people. But all this free money and all this stuff flow around, and you can't get people come to work when they want, you know. And then some that don't even come pick the check up. I just is making. I just don't know. You don't tell me, but for that, I got all the
Well,
equipment to do it myself.
let's slow down here, look.
But-
Real problem here is we don't want another fire like we had 2 years ago.
I know. Look at
And we got to make sure that don't
I
happen.
agree. I agree, but guess what? Just keep this in mind. Now, there's been 2 years of change. All right, he ain't never come over there and they used to exercise the training center right through there, and he walked through there to come through there.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back, Mr. Stokes. You got some things like you got no
I
fire
got-
extinguishers on the property.
I got fire extinguishers on there. He ain't been on there. I done bought so many fire extinguishers too.
So you could put out a fire if you had
Yeah, I
to.
got a. Matter of fact, see, I had a fire truck. If you look on there, I bought a fire truck. They set it on fire.
Okay.
You know, when I bought the fire truck, next thing you know, I'm on fire.
Well,
So,
just
you
slow down,
know,
slow down,
he
slow down,
ain't- he
slow
ain't
down.
worried about-
Hold it,
I got,
hold it,
I got
Stokes.
some more slides to
I
the,
need
to
somebody
the
else.
slideshow.
Hold it, hold it, Mr.
Because he's still fighting civil war. That's exactly what he's doing. You talk to him, because I'm being serious.
Yeah, let us hear from you, Ms. Schufer.
I can't change color. Even if I did.
So here's the 1545 property.
See, what he doing way over there? What he worried about that? Those something like
This is the 1605 Furnace Street property. Like I said, this property right here, he doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, which is, he has to go through the building department to get, which to get the certificate of occupancy, which grants you a business license, which he does not have to store or anything on that property.
Keep this in mind. This man is his buddy over there at the place, over at that place back over there. And they meet all the time. So he been calling to sit on me for the last 20 years, for the dogs, anything. So
I got you.
It's not going to be a personality
Go to the
thing.
next
Well, that's
slide,
what I'm
Mike.
saying. That's what happened.
Ms.
man.
Schufer,
Mr. Stokes, I promise you that man's got better
Well, you
things to
probably
do
won't.
than to come out to your property
So-
every single day.
Why
So-
he got a
And the fire department's got better things to do than to
So-
come out to your property.
Yeah, that was what they said.
So here's the property, what it actually should look like. If it was in compliance with the fire code, as you can see, this would actually would look like if it was in compliance with the fire code.
Like I said, I lost work. I got out
As
of
you can
house.
see,
That's
you
why I
got your
had-
roads, you got your pallet separation, access to lot lines. You can go to the next slide, Mike.
was this ever that way?
That
No,
was my-
sir. it's
yeah.
never been that way.
Huh?
No, sir.
How did
It
you get
was,
that
that's-
picture?
They just,
You just showed it?
Yeah, it's just a function of how it would look like if it was actually in compliance. So you can play that video, Mike.
That's my play.
So this is April of 2018, as you see,
What's
how many
that?
pallets he has and how much actually is burning. This fire moved probably within 3 minutes or so, about engulfed the whole place.
What's up?
Who's next door to him there with all the trailers?
That's Thermo King,
Okay.
which actually burned up some of his trailers in the process of it.
No, I didn't. You lying. It's fly now. This man got a personal problem, I'll tell you. I wish y'all get somebody else. I ain't that hard. I ain't gonna come down here and fight City Hall. I'll be a fool.
Mr. Stokes, let me tell you something.
And
We don't want to put you out of business. We want you to have a business. We're all about that.
That's what he
But
trying
we
to
don't
do.
want fires either. Okay?
Huh?
And you got a fire problem, man.
I agree with that. I'm not saying that, you know.
You
And I
gotta,
ain't the only one.
and I can't fix it for you. You got to
I
fix
can't
it.
fix no 2 years.
Very
in-
simple.
He ain't even coming in there.
And I don't talk about
City-
him.
Like I said.
Look at the picture.
Huh?
Let's don't
Well,
talk
I-
about him.
Go to the
Me and
next
you.
slide, Mike.
Me and you.
And
Okay?
then he
Hey,
got
don't worry about him.
He got
Me and you.
All right.
We got a fire problem.
Yeah.
Okay? You could get a fire that could put a lot of folks out of business and hurt a lot of firemen. Okay? That's what we got to protect. You got to do it. I can't do it. You got to do that. Okay?
Look here, it's circumstance behind this. COVID has messed up everything. I had 25 people working, now I got 3. You know what I'm saying? I can't, you know, what he can't even do is.
I understand that.
He
Okay,
coming
that's
through
no
that,
problem.
and then I ain't trying to start nothing. I got the equipment there. I got, matter of fact, he really gave me a break because found the insurance company gonna pay me $40,000.
I can't believe your insurance company will let you
So
do
yeah,
that.
what I was saying, but I can't get nobody in.
Ms.
coming in.
Shuford,
They I've been
Can we
blackballed.
hear from you?
They blackballed, huh?
Mr. Mitchell,
Can we hear from you? Can you explain to us what's going on?
Yes, sir.
you pull your mask, take your mask off, Ms. Gifford.
Yes, sir. My name is Carolyn. I'm actually his daughter.
Okay, so-
I'm not Miss Shuford.
Okay.
So what's going on is we need more time to fix the problems. We're just not having enough time. 2 weeks is not enough time to make those spaces in between. That's all we're asking. He just keeps coming. He did, like I said, my dad said, he only rode by twice this morning and never even came inside to walk the place or anything. He showed you drone footage from yesterday. We've been working up till at least till 4 o'clock today trying to fix everything. And then it's not enough time. That's all he's just trying to ask for.
So what's going on with the adjacent building that you guys are storing pallets
Okay,
on?
we just bought that property, so I wasn't aware that we needed occupancy of business, obviously. So that's just some minor paperwork that we need to do, and there's nothing else. We just having problems with getting the. We just purchased it, but we still haven't received the appropriate paperwork to even file for anything right now because we're still waiting on the. I don't know myself. Like we
Okay.
bought, yeah.
How long has it been since you purchased it?
We bought we purchased it back in January.
Okay.
Not this year, last year. And we've been waiting on paperwork for
Over a
since
year.
then. Yes, ma'am.
Over the time, they said they had to have roads taken off, and it's just a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and then
To-
everything.
all kinds of stuff. You
And,
know.
and then it was
And
waiting
that's
on the
why
titles.
the
and-
move on. That's why I've been trying to correct this problem.
Now, you said you didn't have enough time. If you had to put a time on it, how much time you think that you would need to get everything on that list that was up there done?
If I get another month,
You think you can do it in a month?
No, can't do it.
not a month, maybe another.
It's gonna take a minute, because we can't get no help. I'm telling you, even Japan, I'll pay people to come in, they ain't come out and get a check, ain't nobody working. And I'm not crying about that, I'm trying to get all the stuff in there, but the major stuff like the little simple stuff like the fire extinguishers and different stuff like that, he ain't never brought that all up. You know,
Well,
so we can take care of that. And I once had to pay back.
He's just-
That's just all to it.
Mr. Stokes, he's doing his job, okay?
Well, yeah, no, I think he had some.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President,
Stokes.
can I
Yes,
ask
sir.
Chief Jordan,
Yes,
can I
sir.
ask Chief Jordan a question?
Sure.
What would you like for us to do? This
Look,
council?
I understand all this pain, you know, really, and I believe everything Mr. Stokes saying about his health. This is the problem. The problem is he's out of code. We started this 2 months ago. And we don't have to walk through the building. We have technology such as a drone. We can see where everything we need to see, everything you guys saw. The problem is not just the codes. There's 17 firefighters. 2.5 years ago go out there. Every time our firefighters go out there, and I'm responsible for those firefighters, you put their lives in danger with that. That's the problem I have. And if you want to blame anyone for bringing Mr. Stokes before the council, that's me. It's not Chief Mountain, it's me. Because my responsibility is to the city and to our firefighters. And I'm passionate about that. So what I told Chief Mountain this morning, if Mr. Stokes don't have his stuff right, my recommendation to the council, to the mayor, is to suspend his license until he gets his stuff together. Because I cannot send my firefighters out there in good faith. And Mr. Stokes keep telling me he's going to need another week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. He's got a mess out there. But that's not my mess. And it's not going to cause a crisis on my end by putting my firefighters in harm's way. Now, that's just straight up, Mr. Stokes. And I want you to have a business, but you cannot have a business from the way I see it and all these violations and keep putting these men and women in harm's way. Because if we have a fire like we had 3 years ago, everybody in this city, everybody in this council, the mayor is going to expect us to go out there and put it out. And we just cannot keep putting our firefighters in this situation.
He makes a good point now, what he's saying. But, okay, 3 years they hadn't been out there. And at the same time,
Pull your mic up there, Mr. Stokes.
oh yeah, I said 3 years he hadn't been out there. There ain't nobody been, the fire department ain't been nowhere around.
Well,
All right?
we
And the
got
same-
pictures, Mr. Stokes. It doesn't matter. Okay. We
One
got
thing
pictures.
I'd like to add with that, we don't have to come out there.
Well,
We shouldn't have to come out there for you
I
to
pay the
be
taxpayer
within
money. We using the
the
camera.
codes. You know what the requirements are. We should not have to come out there. We're not going to
maybe you
babysit
should.
anyone.
Maybe you should.
But once we understand and we know that there is an issue, then we have to be on it. We can't be in 20,000 places at one time. There's thousands of businesses. We probably have not been out there. But after that fire 2.5 years ago, you shouldn't want us back out there.
I've been down there since 2000. I done paid $86,000 in tax money, so I paid tax money. I didn't start that fire. Someone started it. So
Well, it cost us $86,000 to put it out.
well, that come with the program. Now I didn't start the fire. They didn't investigate.
Well, that's okay, but we don't want another one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't want another one.
Mr. President,
I mean,
Yeah, Mr. Pruitt.
whose district is this?
Yeah, then say,
Well, see,
you ain't got no count.
I've heard what the fire department says, and I'm gonna do what the fire department wants us to do. That's just my opinion. So, you wanna keep discussing it, we can discuss it.
There's no more, we know what to say. What, y'all want them closed down? We need to close them down?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I
Mr.
think
Calhoun.
Chief Jordan asked that we suspend the license, and this is asking for a revocation. So I heard Mr. Stokes said something, 45 days. I was passionate about giving them the time, the 2 weeks they're extending. I think the council
Right.
is working with them. But over the last 2 weeks, we hadn't seen any progress. In order for to get the progress done, I don't never want to put nobody out of business, but I think we need to suspend the license for 30, 45 days or whatever it takes to get it done and let him come back before the council to get his license renewed.
It's a good way to do it.
We would recommend the license be suspended until he gets all his violations corrected. That's every
Okay.
violation he has, we want to correct it.
All right, I'll accept a motion like that.
See what he doing and making it impossible. He know better now. He know what we're going through.
Mr. Stokes, we're trying to work with you. We have, and I think you started with good faith in the initial over the last 2 weeks based on what they're showing us. You know, you hadn't, with good faith, continue to work, and that's what we asked. As long as you was showing due diligence to do what we asked you to do, we was willing to work with you. But I think, not trying to put you out of business, but if we suspend your license and let you just concentrate on getting it back before, we want you to stay in business in Montgomery. You're paying taxes, and so that's what we want to do. But we can't keep putting, we represent the city of Montgomery, our fire department, and our men going, we can't keep putting them in harm's way if we can't see progress.
Let me ask you one thing. Like I said, on he said keep making progress, right? That's by his standard. There's a lot of pallets out there, do you understand? We moved a lot, thousand pallets. And now he's saying they wrong. He went finding other stuff. So don't get me wrong. He ain't writing it down out there to see what I supposed to be and did.
Help us help you.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Help us help you.
Thank
Go on and ask for some days. Get him on.
Mr. Stokes, wait. Mr. Calhoun. you wanna make a motion?
That's my motion, Mr.
All right, your
President.
motion is to suspend his rule for 45 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the
Are
rule.
we doing?
I have a quick
This is old.
question, Mr. President, before we vote on that. Chief, have we made available to him the full list of everything?
Yes, ma'am. He has a copy of his inspection report.
Okay,
He has it and it's been signed, correct?
okay. Can we get him another one just to say we know we gave it to him again, to say check?
Yeah, I'll get him another one, but I mean, yeah, he has one definitely of what he's supposed to do.
Okay, Mr. Stokes, you get your list, you just go, some stuff you just go purchasing. You go purchase your fire extinguisher, some stuff,
Okay.
right,
Okay.
okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
we say, I said 45 days. Let's say to suspend his license until all his violations are completed. So if he can get it done in 30 days, he can come back before the council with our people and we'll move forward. Get it done in 15 days, that's all on him. So, we're saying 45 days to give him enough time, so that's my motion.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You got the thing, Mr. Stokes. We'll see you as quick as possible. Okay? All right,
Item
number
two.
2.
Review of nuisance at 532 Deerfield Drive from Ms. Madison.
Ms. Madison? Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Brandon?
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
With Mike Graham, I think you had a conversation, Brandon, you had a conversation with Ms. Madison?
Well, I spoke with Ms. Graham, and I believe they may have spoken. What we did since the last council, we went and checked all our 301 service requests related to Deerfield Drive. 20 of those requests were made for various properties on Deerfield Drive, 5 of which being specific to 532. All but one are related to parking issues. And this most recent one that we spoke about at the last council has since been closed out and complied, and the property is in good standing with us as of right now.
Okay.
So you understand what he's saying?
Well, what's going on is my neighbors have something against me, and they have been talking to Mr. Purtle. I'm not sure if those were personal requests made by my neighbors or whatever, but he's just, I guess, been complying with them, you know, with, I guess, harassing me, trying to run me out of the neighborhood because I'm not parking under I have a pecan tree in my yard, and it drops stuff on my cars, and it kind of molds to the paint of my car. So, and we were having quite a bit of storms last year, so I parked in front of my mailbox near the fire spigot on the side of the street, and they were calling saying that those were violations, but they weren't violations. I was just parking in front of my house. And the debris that they were speaking of, which I don't have any debris in my yard, it was just a gate.
Well, they closed that out.
Yeah.
They went and closed that out. They realized that you were fine about that, you know, it was such a small infraction that, you know, so that's all straight. You don't have anything to worry about that. That's taken care of.
Okay, as long as everything is taken care of and nobody's coming by my house and making false statements and stuff like that, because I take care of my property just like anybody else. I don't feel that I need to cut my grass every week like my neighbors think I should, and they're calling down there saying that it's an issue when it's not. I work, I'm a mother of 3, I have an autistic son, so you know I have very little time to do a lot of stuff, but I do take care of my home. My house is clean inside and out, and as long as, you know, I don't have anyone from the city or anywhere else coming back to my house, you know, I'm fine with that. So as long as it's closed, we have no other business, and I have no other business here.
Okay, sound good to us.
Okay.
We're sorry about that, and we appreciate you.
All right,
Thank you again. Okay.
Have a good one.
Next item.
Item 3, ordinance amending Code of Ordinance, Chapter 14 by adding regulations of unattended donation collection boxes.
And Mr. Mitchell wants to carry that over.
Yeah, we're going to carry it over. We're going to meet next Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the old council chamber.
Okay, very good. Do you have
Who's going to meet?
It was going to be Mr. Dan Dickey,
Okay.
Mr. Thomas Carr, I think Miss Ingrid, and Mr. Mickey. I think it was one other person.
Okay, you're meeting with them?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. All
Okay,
right.
so it's not the council meeting?
No.
Okay.
Just an individual.
But this will be on the next agenda.
Okay, item number 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance consenting to disposal of certain real property located at 608 North Court Street by the Waterworks and Sanitary Sewer Board to EJI.
I think we all understand what this situation is, just property being sold to EJI. Any questions of that?
Yes, sir.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to
Adopt.
adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 5, resolution supporting adoption of an administrative plan for a 30% minimum goal for disadvantaged minority and women-owned business enterprises participation in City of Montgomery government construction and professional service contracts.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 6, resolution expressing support for renaming Jeff Davis Avenue to Attorney Fred D. Gray Avenue.
I need a motion to suspend the
Mr. President, I want to make a motion to suspend the rules and make an amendment.
rules. Okay.
Got to make a motion to adopt.
I got a motion to suspend the rules and make it, I take the amendment first. Okay?
Okay?
We got to have the vote on the suspension of rules. We've got to have it.
All right. Motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Mr. President, the resolution reads right now, resolution expressing.
Wait. You got to make a motion to adopt to get it on the table.
Okay, Mr. President, make a motion to adopt.
Okay, I got a
and
question.
Now then.
And now
to
you
amend.
suspend. Now you can
The
amend.
second one is to amend.
All right, so what I want to change is the resolution expressing support for naming Attorney Fred Gray Avenue to Jeff Davis Avenue, and Jeff Davis Avenue to a resolution expressing support for naming a undetermined site or street after Attorney Fred Gray.
All in favor of the amendment, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Now voting on the main motion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
I'd like to-
adopted as amended.
Mr. Gray's sons are here in the audience now. Please stand up so everybody recognizes that you're here. I'm sorry I didn't let you speak, but Fred Gray Jr., very good to have you.
Thank you, Council.
Item
Okay.
7, resolution designating the voting places for the District 1 special election.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on this item?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Now, what's the-
Resolution is adopted.
I got it.
Item 8, resolution approving issuance of business license to the U-Bar and Grill at 163 Eastern Boulevard.
Representative of U-Bar, please, come forward.
Representative.
You got two of you. Okay. All right, your name, sir, for the record.
Good evening, I'm an attorney, Preston Presley, here representing U-Bar.
Okay, Preston, you here? Okay. All right, and
Are your clients,
Marcus Manuel's here too, I
are
believe.
your
Isn't it?
clients here?
They were here, we talked to Chief, and I think they
Pull the mic around before we can hear you.
Okay.
And you can pull your mask off.
Yeah, they were here earlier. We had a conversation with Chief Finley, and I think they stepped out after that.
Okay. Chief, would you like to share that with us right now?
Yeah, we had a meeting. We're going to have a meeting this Friday at, I believe it's 11, and to discuss the plan, the security plan, and what business plan they have different than before, and then we will give them a favorable recommendation to reopen in 2 weeks if we reschedule it. for 2
Okay.
weeks.
So we carried it over.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
just for the record, Mr. Attorney
Presley, yes, sir.
Presley.
And I understand, and I had some questions I want to ask, and I wish they would have stayed, because we could have got down the road to find out what's different in the plan that they have. We gonna vote on this up or down, so I think it would have been due diligence for them to stay and try to give us what they're trying to do that's different.
Yes, sir, I think it was their understanding that we wouldn't have anything going on this week, and it would be moved.
Man, what if we
to
would
2
have changed our mind?
Chief's gonna meet with them, and that was the main thing. Okay, so
All right, thank you, sir.
I guess we don't have a public hearing on this. We just have a resolution. So this will be carried over for 2 weeks, and we'll tackle it on the next.
Mr. President, I have one
Okay?
question.
At the meeting.
Do they still have their liquor license is in stack with the ABC board? Because this is just for a business license, so.
This is
They got it
just for a business license. I think they still have it intact.
Okay, all
But
right.
they may have to reapply. I don't know.
All right, thank you, sir.
Councilman Calhoun,
Yes, ma'am.
they appealed the revocation of their business license. We're in touch with the ABC board. They haven't, I don't think they've done anything specific with their liquor license. They're waiting on the outcome of the appeal.
Okay, thanks.
Item number 9.
Application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Dollar General Store at 2296 East South Boulevard.
Representative of the Dollar General Store here, please. Come forward.
Maurice Minifield, representing Dollar General.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward or call on the phone. Seeing none and hearing none, declare the public hearing's been held proper before the council. Mr. Mitchell? Ms.
Motion
Sherry?
to suspend the rules?
Yes, sir. Motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the business, sir. Thank you.
Item 10, application for lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as VIP Hookah Lounge at 1408 Madison Avenue.
Representative of the Hookah Lounge, please. Your name?
Brian Pleasant.
Brian?
Yes, sir.
Before we talk any further, what is this? What have you got here? What's a Hookah Lounge?
I'm reopening what was formerly Bora Hookah Bar. I bought the strip mall on Madison Avenue.
Okay.
And because of the code and compliance, I didn't want to change too many of the factors of it. So it'll be a hookah bar on one side, and then a coffee house will occupy the other spaces.
Right. Kind of low key.
Say again?
It's a low key lounge or whatever?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
I own daycare centers and.
This is a public hearing, and anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Call in. Anybody calling in, Mike? Okay. I declare public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right.
Resolution
Good luck with
is
your business,
adopted.
sir.
Thanks, sir.
It's called hookah.
All right.
Item 11, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as Decades Cigars and Social at 3518 Eastdale Circle.
Representative Decades Cigar and Social, please come forward. Your name for the record, please.
Warren Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, okay.
Courtney Elder.
Call Courtney. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward or call in on the phone. Seeing and hearing none, that public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Item 12, resolution appointing Davita Hines to the Montgomery Clean City Commission.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on the rest
Motion to suspend the rules.
on the rest of the agenda. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, now, Ms. Mitchell, okay. I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 13, resolution appointing Allison Prilliman to the Industrial Development Board.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Just need a motion to adopt.
Yeah, we suspend
Oh,
the
that's
rules.
right, we
already.
did. Okay, motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 14, appeal of proposed demolition by Gabriel A. Cottrell of 217 East Park Avenue, represented by Attorney Royce Gray Wadsworth.
I don't believe, is anybody here?
Yeah, somebody
Mr.
walking up.
Wadsworth?
Ms. Gabriel.
Okay, your name, sir?
Gabriel Cottrell.
Okay, Mr. Cottrell. All right. You know about this one, Brandon?
Yes, sir. I haven't spoken to Mr. Cottrell.
You haven't spoken to him, but...
I was aware.
Okay, well, do you need to speak to him and talk? Can you just talk to Brandon and work this out?
I like to think so.
Okay, y'all work it out. Okay?
Absolutely.
That'd be much better. Just talk.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 15, resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
Need a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 16, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 17, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Y'all want to take the mayor's first?
Huh?
Do y'all want to take the mayor's ordinance first?
Yeah, the ordinance on real property.
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of properties for Whitewater Park to Montgomery County Community Cooperative District.
Okay. Need a motion to suspend the rules on this item.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Okay. And Mr. Calhoun has an ordinance here, ordinance he wants to carry over.
Ordinance amending Chapter 12, Article 2, Division 1, 4, and adding Division 5 to provide for abandoned and/or obsolete signs as nuisances.
Mr. President.
Carried over.
Yes, sir. I move to carry this over for 2 weeks.
Okay, very good. Okay.
I have some contingencies that
Oh, you do?
came in early this morning that does not have the mayor's approval.
Okay.
For District 2, $5,000 to Greater Madison Park Neighborhood Association, they are a vendor. And for District 7, $1,000 to the Bellingraph Dixie Youth Baseball League, and they are also a vendor.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr. President,
Ms. Pruitt.
move to adopt.
All right. All in favor, raise your hand.
Wait, hold on, Mr. President. So my stuff,
Oh,
I did that through another account. The email is.
Rental.
Okay.
rental
You did
tax.
your rental.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
talk to you about setting up a feasibility committee on city impound and the city towing.
Okay. You want a committee on that?
Yes, I want a committee on that.
You, Ms. Graham,
And hopefully Clay.
and Clay. Okay? And you can call your meeting, okay? Got that?
This is an
You're on the
ad
committee
hoc,
with,
this is an ad hoc committee on city impound and city code.
right.
Towing.
Towing.
Towing and
City-
impound.
City towing.
Y'all work hard.
And it's chaired by Councilor Mitchell with 4 and 7.
There you go.
8 want to be on that.
Anybody else?
No, sir.
Got a question for the mayor. Mayor, on our American Rescue Act, have we got any specifics on how that money, have we, because I have a lot of drainage and sewage, in my area that my residents are calling me on. I just want to see where we on that, getting that money or being able to use that money.
We have not gotten detailed information on that. We are waiting that with bated breath as well to figure out what we can do and to sit down and meet with y'all as a council to find out what your priorities are and what the best way would be to utilize that in the city of Montgomery. So as soon as we get that information, which I know our finance director, Betty Beaver, will let me know, we'll be setting up some conversations with all of you to kind of see how we want to go about doing that in your districts and across the city.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, anybody else? Meeting adjourned.